Right, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to talk about something very important, very dear to me. It's marketing, branding, loyalty. Should be a brand or non-brand and everything. And I'd like to welcome some of the leading marketers in Australia to the stage. Please welcome my guests up on stage. Lachlan Harris, Group Director, Sales and Marketing for Naumi Hotels. Melissa Gruse, Group Director, Marketing, Crystalbrook Collection. Leanne Stocks, Director of Sales and Marketing, BWH Hotels. And Sue Johnson, Marketing Director for Spices Resorts. Please welcome to the stage to talk about marketing, branding, non-branded as well. Thank you. And it'd be good if we could have the volume up really loud because there's some people over there still talking over us. All right, where am I going to sit? Okay. All right. Okay. I will make myself comfortable. Okay.
It's been a long day.
It has been a long day. Okay. Let's talk a little bit about marketing. Me being a marketer, just sort of on the panel now, what are you seeing with marketing and what's working, what's not working? Leanne, I know it's a very general, broad question.
Look, that is a very broad question to start off with. But I guess we're bringing it into the loyalty space. Yep. So I know that that's the panel title. So I think that we've got loyalty is playing an even more important role now than it has pre-COVID as far as our organisation is concerned. So we have, we know that the market has changed, the travellers have changed, the way they behave has changed, and that's from the corporate space to the leisure space. And the corporate market with the loyalty space is really important because we've got now a very fragmented SME market, which is really hard to tap into, but you know that they're worth a lot to the organisation and to our hotels. So it's really important to capture those new travellers in that market.
Are customers still loyal to a brand or a loyalty program? Melissa.
Loyalty programs really have a place. Like, they can help you capture the customer, keep them loyal, keep them shopping with you. You can increase share of wallet, you can get greater insights. But I think the problem is that not a lot of companies are doing loyalty well.
Yep.
You're often looking at it as a customer in just trying to drive commercial interaction or an acquisition tool, as opposed to actually generating long-term value. And guilty, our program, I mean, we're only a 6-year-old company and a lot of our growth has happened in the last 2 to 3 years. And so what we're doing is very much around customer acquisition, incentivising with a discount to get customers through. But how many of you know the value of an email address? You can have a look at the value, the money that you get from an email versus the transactions and number of email addresses you've got. And then that, compared to people that aren't on your database, gives you a really strong value that helps you understand whether or not you're actually activating or driving that loyalty. So I think there's a lot of things people need to do is step back and say, right, from our customers, what do we want them to do? Are we looking at the right metrics? So many people are actually looking at our loyalty base as the people who deliver the most revenue. But actually, it might be the people that are more vulnerable that you should be looking at driving your loyalty from. So those that are your highest revenue are probably your most loyal customers, so you don't have to do that much to engage with them. And certainly you don't need to discount to them because they're brought into your brand and your values and what you offer. But those that potentially sit on the fence, they're the ones that you need to be thinking about. How do I design my loyalty program in and around that? Because not all customers are created equal. And I think that's where we often go with a big, broad brushstroke. This is what we need to be offering. And so because of that, in particular in this market, customers are price sensitive. They're shopping around. As they came out of COVID, from a travel industry in particular, they were just spending to have a great time. Yeah. But I really see now that cost conscious, the price comparison coming through. So having that value is one thing, but it has to be perceived value as well as just cash value.
Lachlan, Naumi Hotels, are you guys in Australia? Who are you guys? I know you operate in New Zealand and overseas.
Yeah, we're a little bit different. We have 5 hotels in New Zealand, our flagship in Singapore. We do have a white label property here in Sydney that we're working on. And I think to your question, loyalty, I think people are loyal to an experience that they enjoy.
Yep.
And when you're a small hotel company, I think the key part is to make sure that your marketing and your brand and what you offer is consistent initially, to make sure that you do have a solid base before actually embarking on a program as well. And I also think that a loyalty program is only as good as your distribution. So how are you accessing those customers? How are you communicating with them? What are you offering that is special and unique? And what are you offering that is specific to them as a customer themselves? So I think the challenge going forward is, how do you keep the interest of your loyalty customer? Because let's be honest, everybody's got 5 or 6 different memberships to 5 or 6 different companies. So how do you maintain interest and keep your eye on the ball?
Yeah. So Sue, do loyalty programs create true loyalty?
There's not a lot of empirical evidence to suggest that they do. I agree with that statement that people are loyal to an experience, and a poor experience, no number of discounts or credits or room upgrades is going to win them back. I think it's important for businesses to be clear about what's the point of this program, and maybe calling a loyalty program is a little bit misleading, that in itself will create loyalty. Loyalty programs normally give us data that we wouldn't normally be able to collect from a customer shopping with us. They make it easy for affiliation programs and for companies to work with other companies by sharing and collaborating. So I don't know, maybe they're mislabeled. Maybe loyalty programs isn't quite the right, because I think those programs do have a place, but holding them responsible for loyalty is setting them up for failure.
Yep.
Yeah, can I just add something there? Because I guess that I'm coming from a different space, being a global brand, and with being a truly global brand with 53 million members, I think that actually really has helped us through COVID, because we have kept in touch with those loyal members. We marketed to them even when we didn't have, they weren't travelling. And so we kept in touch. We tried to keep the brand top of mind going through that, and actually keep communicating and keep talking to them. And that has really set us up to succeed coming out of COVID. But I 100% agree, having it is not what it's about. It's about using it. And it's all about recognition and personalisation. Yeah. I think that they're the two things that if you do those well, and you were talking about the personalisation today, I mean, that is exactly what it's about. And if you have the data and you have all of those data points you get from a loyalty program, then you have a lot of intel to be able to help you craft your message to the right person at the right time.
Yeah.
Do you need a loyalty program to do that? Like, we're very lucky. People give us a lot of information because they need to, or because we ask for it. Like, I think you can catch guests before they leave. I think you can reward your most loyal guests. I think you can...
A lot of hotels struggle, Sue, because, we've tried to put some of our clients or new clients onto, an email or CRM program, and saying the front desk struggles to get that information at front desk. I mean, I think it's a sentiment around the room. What are some of the ways that are you effectively doing to get all that information, then to pull it into a CRM, not necessarily checking? Because a lot of, I know hotels struggle with the front desk to get them to, fill out all that information. So, Melissa.
I think for Crystalbrook, we have just invested in bringing Salesforce in. And we're actually using that as our central part of the whole business. So rather than a PMS being our core, it is all sitting within there. So the data that we get, not just from the website, not just from the hotel teams, but our loyalty club / CRM program has multiple entry points for us to catch the data. So whether it's at a food and beverage restaurant where you can get 10% off, we're capturing there. Whether it's at spa, or whether we can bring in all our sales teams into Salesforce as well. So you're creating different types of databases. That then overlaid with the behaviour and the insights that come from guest stays in there just allows you to be much more personalised. And I think that flip and looking at all the different touch points as opportunities for data collection, as opposed to saying front office while you're checking somewhere, you need to also capture X,
You also
Y,
have to
Z.
train the team. They're at the
Of course
front.
you do,
coalface
and it's a
in that
cultural
part, yeah.
change too. The business needs to value the data, and that's why if I can turn around and say the value of an email address is $1,000 to us, then absolutely that changes
Absolutely,
the
yep.
conversation.
Yeah, totally agree. So talking about global brands and loyalty, I mean, would an unbranded hotel join a brand, a big hotel brand? Sue?
Absolutely.
Or, yep, Sue, whatever. Well, I don't know. I mean, look, there's a lot of unbranded hotels in this room. I mean, would they join a big hotel brand, and what? I mean, yeah.
Distribution would be the big opportunity.
Distribution, yeah.
I would have thought, not to say that the brand's not important, it is, but you're tapping into a lot more in the infrastructure of a big organisation that a single operator just couldn't achieve. It's just not possible.
Yep. Okay.
I think it's also about where you want your brand as an individual hotel to go. If you see it's got a future, if you're sitting in position nicely, whether you're a lifestyle, 5-star, luxury, whatever that means, it's all perception these days. So I think if you've got brand integrity and you've got a future in what you're offering, and being a smaller hotel group like us, we have to make a decision on a lot of what we do, whether we're going after a new set of customers or we're focusing on building our loyalty with our existing customers. So we have conversations where it's around people either like us or they don't, what we do.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
at the point we are in our business and our portfolio, it's really important that we focus on those that do like us. If you spread yourself too thin, then you're going to get into trouble. So for a white label or a standalone hotel that might be looking at, being part of a bigger brand, it's really about what you want to offer. Because as soon as you do jump into another category and become part of a wider product, you probably lose a bit of that DNA that you started with.
Yep.
And I think if you can make that call and hold firm and then develop in line with your distribution, not try and have your ambition outweigh your ability, then it's stand alone, have a go at it.
Let's get back to the core marketing. What channels work best at the moment, post-COVID? Look in all channels: website, SEO, SEM, meta, programmatic, email, social, organic, social paid. I mean, I don't know. I mean, I know there's a lot there, but I mean, look, there's a lot of people in the room here. Some are small operators, some are big operators. What's working best for you? I know everyone operates in different markets here, so yeah.
I put this question in, so I should answer it. Look, it also comes back to attribution. This is a really hard conversation because it is one I'd love to talk about from an attribution point of view, because obviously digital is a core conversion point, and digital direct, and coming off the back of COVID where people were concerned with booking with OTAs because they weren't getting their money back, we had a real shift to direct, and I think businesses saw the value that came from that. We do see meta coming through. We do obviously see our search is SEM and all our email programs. I think email is about 5% of our revenue that comes through. They're all great. I think the challenge is that when you're looking at what is your attribution, so whether it's last click or data-driven, there's lots of different avenues, it actually devalues then the channels that add
so what
people into the
attribution
funnel.
models work? I mean, this is a question, obviously, what channels work? What attribution models work? Because that's very important.
I think, look, attribution is, to quote Ted Lasso, work in progress, but it's complete, with a changeover, there's so many different issues, and with cookie-less future coming through, I think it's just a watch and see, really. Sort of best case in a lot of platforms do still work off last click attribution, and I think that's kind of where we need to.
So question 2, so if you want to answer, what channels are working on attribution, what models work best?
Depends what you mean by working. If you're looking to build brand, as many channels as you can afford, to take your budget divided by 12 and then advertise throughout the whole year, that will work for building brand.
Yep.
And then in the distribution, in the lower part of the funnel, the booking, branded search terms seem to work because they're pretty well good to go. We're seeing some mixed results with amplification in the OTAs. I think it's a case of test what works for you.
Yeah. Leanne, you're a bit different. Well, not different, but I mean, you do marketing
Adrian,
for the brand.
I'll take that as a compliment.
Absolutely. I mean, you do marketing for the brand.
Yeah.
But also then you encourage your own members and franchises to do their own local area marketing.
Yeah,
So you're representing both sides.
Yeah, so we do have both sides of that coin, and I think that COVID. It was very easy when COVID came in to just look at the ROAS. You know, you were really looking at that ROI, the return on ad spend and everything. But coming out of COVID, you've got to realise we've got to go back to brand. Go back to the big picture and really start to push that out, because that's really important, because if we focus in on just what we can see digital spend and ask for that return, you just don't get out to the areas that you need to and do that brand building.
So you also support in marketing the smaller operators. What advice would you give? There's a lot of small operators in here. Where would they be spending their money best? What channels? What should they be doing? Besides having a good website, I don't know. I mean,
yeah, obviously that's a good way to go. I mean, obviously there is they need to own their own space. As far as search, they have to compete. But I mean, for instance, we do that for our hotels. We make sure all branded terms are covered for all of our hotels so that they have a better chance with the OTAs. So we already do that. But if they're not doing that, that is really important, because I think you said it earlier today, I think it was you, that basically if they're searching, if somebody is searching for your hotel name,
branded.
And they don't see you there, they'll click on booking.com or an OTA and think that they're going to your site. So it is very important. It's frustrating, ridiculously frustrating that we have to do that, but that is part of it, and I think that's important.
You can beat the OTAs and bid when your brand determines something. I brought up my presentation today. You know, if you've only got $500 a month, you want to spend it on Google AdWords, you know, bid for your brand name, because they're farther down the funnel when they're booking, when they're searching for your brand. Don't sort of, you know, go and put campaigns out there for Sydney accommodation or something like that. Do the bare minimum at least for your brand, and you'll see that your return on ad spend is quite high on the branded terms. Is that correct across the panel usually? Or?
Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah, I think that's exactly right. I think you need to be confident in what you're doing. You need to have a really good, engaging website. The user experience needs to be cool. It's got to be enjoyable, the process, and then a supporting digital campaign that hits your key brand ethos. And don't be afraid to let it roll. It's not going to work overnight. Digital strategy takes ages to get proper traction. So it's having the belief in it that what I'm spending now may not turn into ROI next week, but 6 months down the track, when you start seeing, you know, revenue come in, then you can start, you know, redirecting your funds and your budget towards growing that.
Yeah. Anyone else want to advise if you're just a small operator? What should you be spending money on?
I think one thing to keep in mind is absolutely defensive on your brand terms.
Yep.
But no one's going to search for you if they don't know about you. In particular for smaller operators, that's really tricky. So you have to balance that awareness and PR activity, working with influencers, working with your tourism boards, but also stepping back and looking at your audience segmentation. So one of the good and bad things about travel is we appeal to a broad audience, hugely broad. But from your main audience and the one you want to go after, or the highest revenue audience, what is it that's driving them? Is it, for example, in a regional area, they're coming to that place to look at Uluru, for example. It's probably a bad example. There's not many hotels there, but say, go with me on this.
You've got a hotel in the
that they're going to start that search by, you know, just hotels in that destination, because the location's actually the reason why you're there. So you want to be bidding and searching around there. But say you're a Sydney hotel and you're a tiny place there, it's really difficult to get through. So then start to look at, okay, from a customer point of view, and it's probably really important to look at psychographics as opposed to demographics. Just for one example, there's two men in the UK, both born in 1948, both male, both earn millions and millions of dollars, both live in a castle. One's Prince Charles, King Charles now, and the other is Ozzy Osbourne. So they're very, very different people, but when you look at demographics, it's not going to point you in the right direction. So you want to look at those key drivers to try and hone in on that, and just look at maybe specific niche audiences or specific blogs or specific Instagram accounts that help get your brand awareness out there that's relative to where you are, because then they'll start searching for you.
and make sure that you appear. To me, OTAs are great because it's a billboard. They do the marketing for you for free, and it's when they then come to your website that's where you need to capture them. So a little bit about the Book Direct campaign. Book Direct and offer 10%, 5%. Is it still working? Is it done to death? Try something different. What's working to get people to book direct?
Do you want me to go?
Yep, absolutely.
Okay. Well, we still use, obviously, our loyalty program for that, and it is the key messaging that we have, and we do have a discounted rate to book direct, and that is probably our main messaging in all of our marketing is about that book direct message, and also as for our regional hotels, they all have that book direct messaging as well in their marketing, and we encourage it because it is that changed.
Yep.
During COVID, that changed, and that message means something slightly different than it probably did pre-COVID. Yeah. So I think that that Book Direct is about...
Book Direct and offer 10% or Book Direct?
But we'll book direct, but because of our loyalty program, we have that. Yep. We have that, it is always the way. So we make sure that they are always, and that makes our website, our rates are always, our loyalty rates are always the lowest in market. And so that gives us something to sell in that respect.
So to the panel, what other tactics to make people book direct? Flat 10% off, 5%, something else, a value add?
Well, I think you can have a published offer, and I think most operators will have a published offer that is enticing to a certain degree. But I think it's what you do on site and at property. Naumi in New Zealand, we're about to roll out that every direct booking gets a bottle of wine on check-in.
Okay.
So
how about if you don't drink? I'm just being the devil's advocate here.
Then you can have a non-alcoholic cocktail at the bar.
Okay, that's right.
So it's about what you offer that guest that has booked direct at the hotel, trust in old school marketing, which is word of mouth, your Instagram, your TripAdvisor feedback, and just enhance that guest experience. Yeah. Now, yes, you can adjust your percentage off at different times, different days, different weeks. But at the end of the day, if you have a better experience at the hotel, and you've got, with all due respect to the OTAs, a booking.com booking coming in and a direct booking coming in, they're checking at the same time, to use your example before, bottle of wine gets handed out, he talks to that person, I booked direct, OTA. Okay, so next time, so you're already doing, and you're trusting on your operational team to start to make that transition on site for you as well. Yep.
Sue, you've got some beautiful brands, and I mean, do you need to offer a discount? I mean, how do you get people to sort of, because there's that fine line. I mean, you don't see, really nice brands offering the 10% off or something. Would you make them to book direct and loyal?
We do invest a lot of money in brand. No doubt about that. And then we have the paid search in our brand terms to try and capture them as much as possible. OTAs are important to us. But we do offer discounts, but it's always below the line. So if you're a post-day email will go out to a lot of guests offering discount. We invest a lot of time in our wonderful revenue manager, making sure that she's well-fed and and happy, and so she's in there every day looking at that, and then it's that experience in the retreat as well. Like that's what keeps people coming back and booking.
Because not everyone's going to be. I mean, otherwise, if we all looked at price, then we'll be driving, I won't say Holdens or Mitsubishis or something, but I'm just saying people value the customer experience you have at a hotel. They won't care about price. So make the offer, the customer experience that you're offering, not about price experience. They won't care how much they pay. So it's not all about that. And if you offer them, that experience by booking direct, being acknowledged on check-in. The amount of times that, I've checked in at some hotels and may have booked at an OTA, I've done that before, and they don't sort of offer me, hey, thank you very much, you booked for an OTA, book direct next time, here's an offer, and then keep on in contact with me. I don't care how much I pay if I had a good experience as well. So, Melissa.
I think I agree with everything the panel said. One thing that we need to be mindful of is that first hurdle of just getting them to your site. And that comes down to price parity, I think, is one of the key things.
And a good website. Yeah.
A good website, being across having all your messages in there. But essentially what the meta does is it boils everyone down to a price.
Yep.
A listed price. It's very hard to differentiate from brand name and price to then get people to come through. So I think there's that. And then to your point is the experience and the word of mouth that comes through from that.
Leanne, you wanted to say something?
Yeah. No, I just completely agree. And I think that that you talk about price and offering a discount. It doesn't mean that you are cutting your price by 10% or 5%. You are making sure that the exterior price is more than your price at your hotel via your direct channel. And I think that that's a different, if thinking of it slightly differently, it's not about offering a discount to everybody.
Yep.
It's just making sure that your price point is lower for your direct channel that you want to try and drive business through to.
And it's all about customer experience. I mean, I always use the analogy when I went to Auckland, it was about months ago, because we've got an office in Auckland. I stayed at a particular 5-star property. Honestly, the service was absolutely terrible. I mean, for what I was paying, no acknowledgement when I checked in. It was after midnight because my plane got in at 11:59. No acknowledgement. Here's your key. Off you go. Next morning, the room service was late. It was just terrible. I won't say which 5-star property it was. And then, there's a colleague of mine that I know works at the Park Hyatt. More expensive, but Jesus, I tell you what, the touch points there. And during COVID, it was interesting. Coming out of COVID, a lot of hotels didn't open up all their full rooms because they couldn't provide that service. And this particular hotel opened up all their rooms, yet they didn't have the staff to service it because the owners of the hotel wanted more the revenue, not the customer experience. So do you see how the difference was? So now I'll tell you, it's a Park Hyatt in Auckland. Amazing. Just amazing. It's damn expensive, but geez, they recognise you, they know who you are. Every touch point's amazing. So again, I think everything's gone back to normal now, but that was interesting how a lot of hotels the owners wanted to open up all the rooms for the revenue, yet some particular brands, Park Hyatt, I know, operating at 40 or 50% because they didn't want to bastardise that sort of customer experience as well. And that's all got to do with marketing. So anyone want to add on that or no? No? Okay. Sorry.
Yeah, no, I just wanted to add, as far as building the brand, and I think that that's what we're all saying about that experience and really selling everything that you have to offer. One thing I would say, and I think that Sue might have brought up this question before, but any of those marketing tips that has stuck with you, and probably one thing that I think is really important to think about when you're at step one in whether you're building a hotel or whether you're taking over a hotel is bring in marketing at that early stages to build your story. Yep. So I think that that's something that I've realised that we didn't get in on the ground level as early as we should, and to really get an understanding of what you are, who you are, and what the message is. Because if you can get that from day one and can communicate that, you're halfway there.
Yeah, no, definitely. Talk a little bit about social media. Everyone talks about, hey, I can do social media. You have to focus on it. I mean, to us, probably 4th or 5th down the line in terms of revenue generating. I mean, is social media working for you and how do you use it? Who wants to answer that? I know that was on the questions list. I'm throwing them at you.
I think we need to be realistic that we are a visual industry.
Yep.
And any channel that can sell that visual story
Absolutely.
is always going to connect with somebody. We also need to look at the growth in platforms like TikTok, where it's not just mindlessly consuming reels upon reels. People are actually using that in place of Google now. So rather than going to a restaurant, they will look at it to see what the food's like before they go. So it's about recognising those consumer changes and being in there for that as opposed to just putting an ad forward.
Yeah. And we're visual, and I mean, to me, that's why tomorrow we've got Mara talking about hotel photography and the importance of it. I mean, it'll touch on video as well. I mean, we're visual people. We love seeing nice things. We love fantasizing about going to certain places as well. And yet, I see so many hotels do not invest in good hotel photos, do not invest in videos. I mean, I can't stress that enough. We've changed photos on a hotel website, doubled their conversion. We've done videos, double their conversion. So again, it's very visual, so don't forget about the photos of marketing and social media as well. Lachlan.
Yeah, I think there's 2 points that we really focus on when it comes to our social media. And one is UGC, which is getting people in the hotel so you can see what it's like. That's really what social media is about. So that's your influencers, that's KOLs, whatever you want to call them these days. The other area is we've got to start thinking about who are the next generation of travellers that are going to be at our hotels. At the moment, I've got 2 hotels in Queenstown. My demographic's 45 to probably 70, 2 3-night stay. But if I want to get a younger demographic in there, I need to activate our online and our social media channels as well. So it's a combination of being relevant,
Yep.
but also maintaining your brand integrity and not over posting. I think it's come up with a couple of pillars that you're going to focus on, whether it's your F&B, it's your design, whether it's your bedroom, what it might be, but don't over post. I think it's really important that you spend more time having consistency and quality in your page than just going out there and just randomly. We had a conference group in here, and this was the lunch post.
And it's like email marketing. I see so many hotels still just email absolute crap to me, and to me, I unsubscribe. To me, if it's relevant, it fits who I am, where I'm at, my life cycle. And look, there are systems out there. I'll plug Revenate. They use that, and you can really plug it. So market something that appeals to me. Put pictures in there that appeal to me. I mean, we're doing things with websites now where we can actually change the photos depending on who's viewing it as well, or geolocation as well. So we haven't got much time, but question for everybody: what's a marketing lesson you've learned along the way that you won't forget? Sue.
Beware of short-termism. So you'll get particularly in the current climate, there'll be a lot of pressure to discount or do that extra post on social media, because even though we've told them 5 times, maybe this one will be the one.
Yep.
And it's just hold the line, keep investing in brand, and fair point made in the last panel about the temptation to discount and avoiding that.
Yeah. Lachlan, what's a marketing lesson you've learned along the way that you won't forget? Can be anything. I mean, I learned 20 years ago, because I've been in, I'm not showing my age, but I remember I had a travel agency put a $10,000 ad in the Courier Mail, and I forgot to put the phone number in there. Big mistake. Anyway, sorry.
That's exactly to my point. Don't confuse marketing with advertising.
Yep.
They're 2 very different things, and I think you need to be brave when it comes to your marketing, and you need to be bold when it comes to your advertising.
Yep.
But don't confuse the 2. They need to work in tandem, but they're very different beasts.
And data as well. I mean, as I said, we're not plugging our agency, but look at your data. Look at where you're spending. See where you're spending. You're spending on SEO, SEM, what ads are working, what email campaigns are working. Test, and look at your data all the time. And if all your marketing isn't linked up to your Google Analytics and then into some sort of an analytic data studio or something like that, let's come and talk to us or something. But it's, we have to have a look at it. People give us a lot of money every month to spend, and we have to show exactly per dollar how much that email campaign, how much that social post is. So data is very important. Melissa, what's the biggest?
I've got 2, but they're quick.
Okay,
My
2, that's all right.
Was
plenty of time.
Year 10 work experience was at a radio station, and I remember, this is going to date me, but the pure joy someone had when they won a CD. And you gave it to them, because I think we went out on the road crew. I was obviously young. And at the end of the day, that's what we do as an industry. We create joy. We create moments for people that they will remember for the rest of their life. And so that is always, something that I try to keep front and centre, that when everything's, maybe tough or whatever's going down, that at the end of the day, we're very lucky to be able to do that. Secondly is the importance of data. My first job was at Novotel Wollongong, and this was in 2001. And we sent out a direct mail to locals to try and get them to come along on Sunday. And they got an abusive phone call on Monday from this one guy who used the hotel to come for special time with his mistress, but stupidly put his name and his address with her surname on it. And so the direct mail went to their house. Yeah. And it was like, okay, this is really something to remember going forward with all our direct marketing.
It's good remarketing.
Hey, bring back the CD. I mean, why not? Leanne, biggest marketing lesson.
Well, I probably already mentioned it as far as getting in on the ground.
Yep.
As far as marketing starts from day one, or when the first thought comes in, start thinking about who your target audience is, how you're going to sell that story. And but also one thing, I guess, if I'm talking about data, I think that as marketers we've got a very interesting path ahead of us with the straddling creepy versus helpful, you know, information that's being pushed out. So we have to be really careful because sometimes that ad that is a little bit too close to is really unattractive and can turn you off a brand. So I think that that's a really important lesson that we need to. And I was McKinsey. I just had one quote that McKinsey. Study just came out and they said 71% of people expect you to have their data and use their data, but 76% are very annoyed and will go away from the brand if you don't use it well.
Yeah, good point. I mean, the other quick one, I mean, we're running over time, but hey, it's my conference. And Ted's going to kill me, is also the power in marketing of reviews. You know what I mean? That's probably the most powerful. And I think a lot of hotels don't pay enough attention to their TripAdvisor reviews or posting reviews or getting reviews from clients. I think that's very, very important as well. But yeah, my biggest marketing mistake was spend 10 grand on an ad. I forgot to put my phone number in there, but of the travel agency. But please thank the panel, very distinguished marketing gurus here on stage. Thank you very much.